Hello and welcome to another video on Herprincessnook. Today I'm going to be talking about the trifecta of girlhood. The trifecta being fairies, princesses and mermaids. I loved all three growing up and I blame stuff like Barbie and Winx Club for making me love them so much. If I had to rank them, I'd probably put princesses first, then fairies, then mermaids. Mermaids are at the bottom because I can't swim and I'm still salty about that, but yeah, that's probably why, but I still love them just as much. But first, we are going to talk about princesses, because who doesn't want to be a princess and live in a fancy castle and have beautiful dresses and go on walks in a garden? My first recommendation is Goodbye My Princess. I've already made a YouTube video talking about Goodbye My Princess, so if you want to know more about it, please check that out. But yeah, this is a very, very beautiful drama. It's about a princess. Her name is Zhao Feng, and it follows her journey into a political marriage and all of the stresses that come with it. It's very heart-wrenching, I'll just let you know. It's literally called Goodbye My Princess. So don't expect everything to be happy, but I think it's such a beautiful story, and Zhao Feng wears such gorgeous costumes in this drama that I love so much. It is a must-watch. If I had to pick my all-time favorite Barbie movie, it will be Barbie Princess Charm School. This, I think, is just a perfect movie, and it's part of the reason why I wanted to be a princess growing up. I love the dresses, I love the storyline as well. It was so intense. Her being, should I spoil it? I'm guessing you've seen it already, but her being a secret princess, that was such a great plot twist. The whole spy stuff that happened at the end. My favorite scene actually is when she enters the carriage and there's a pot of lipstick and she puts it on and then gets it all over her face. And then when she arrives at the school and they're like, oh, let me show you the school. Here's the ballet places. Here's where they do their dancing. Here's where they eat. It's such a really pretty girly movie and I love it a lot. Another one I liked was the Princess Protection Program. I'll be honest, this one was not my favorite because there wasn't enough princess stuff for me. Because basically, the plot is this girl, that Demi Lovato, I can't remember their names, but she's basically put underneath this protection program where she has to go to a high school and meet Selena Gomez and they become best friends. And for me, if I'm going to watch a movie about a princess, I want you to focus on them being princesses. So, them being in high school or whatever, it's just not as interesting for me. So that movie was always a bit of I kind of liked it, but I didn't love it. A movie that I think did a better job is The Princess Diaries, because you follow a girl, her name is Mia, she's an ordinary, normal girl, and then her grandmother comes to her and says, you're actually a princess. And that was way more interesting because you get to see her have a makeover, and I really, really like the second movie because you follow her in Genovia and you get to see her in loads of beautiful dresses as well. But they're both such good comfort movies. I can't talk about princesses without talking about the Disney princesses. Weirdly, I didn't love Disney princesses growing up. For me, I liked Barbie movies more. And the reason why was I felt like Disney princesses were trying to appeal to everyone. You know what I mean? They're very family-friendly movies. Whereas the Barbie movie princesses were very family for girls, were very girly, were very sparkly. Whereas the Disney princess movies were a bit of a mixed bag. For example, Jasmine from Aladdin, I wouldn't really call that movie... That movie didn't really appeal to me when I was younger when I watched it. It wasn't girly enough for me. Another thing about the princess movies, for example, Princess and the Frog, which I thought I would love, she was a frog for half the movie. But one of my favorite Disney princess movies is actually Belle, Beauty and the Beast. I really, really do love that one. That's my favorite. But a lot of the other ones, like Snow White, Cinderella, they were kind of boring. I know it's problematic to say that now. Oh my gosh, they were girl bosses in their own right. Yeah, sure, but personally I still felt like those movies were kind of boring, which is why Disney princesses were not my favorite. This is one I've watched recently. This is Go Princess Pretty Cure. I wish I found this many years ago because I think it came out in 2014 or 2015. I had no idea it existed. In fact, the only Pretty Cure I knew was the very first Pretty Cure, Vitariwa Pretty Cure, which was just called Pretty Cure. I had no idea it had 20 plus other seasons. Nobody let me know. I literally found this out a year ago. But yeah, this Pretty Cure is so good. I'm on episode 30. I'm coming towards the end of it. It's just a beautiful, gorgeous tale. A lot of Pretty Cure seasons, they're all quite similar. So the main character, her name is Haruka, and her dream is to become a princess, and she ends up becoming a princess Pretty Cure, and she has to fight monsters and save Hope Kingdom. A great, great, great show. I also want to talk about the Tiara Club. These were a set of amazing books. I used to have loads of them when I was younger, and when the mobile library used to come around, we used to have a lot of these books, this one and Rainbow Magic. But the Tiara Club is the one I really loved. It was just about different girls or different princesses, and they each had like little stories, and they also lived together in a boarding school. So it was just so much fun to watch. I mean, to read. It was just like Mallory Towers, but instead they're princesses. So I actually have an entire video called Book Recs about princesses if you want more, but here I've just given it a few. So there's Warrior Princess Assassin, we've got Trial of the Sun Queen, and we've got another one called To Dance the Moon and Stars, and Castles in Their Bones. So this one follows three sisters who are all princesses, and they all get sent to different kingdoms, and they're going to try and rule those kingdoms. River of Royal Blood and Six Crimson Cranes. Again, check out my book recs about princesses video because I go into much more depth about all of these book recs. And for my all-time favorite princess media, I have to mention Ever After High. You know, it pains my heart that ever since Disney made Descendants, Ever After High was canned. That still makes me angry to this day. But this is such an amazing show. It's on Netflix, it's on YouTube. They were supposed to have a crossover movie with Monster High, but we never got that. But either way, Ever After High, it's so pretty. I love the dresses, and I also love the storyline. It is such a strong storyline that you don't normally get from like children's media. But you basically follow Raven Queen and Applewhite, and the fact that they want their own destinies, but some people want to follow their destiny. It's so, so, so good. Alright, let's go on to fairies. If you haven't read it already, I would be shocked, but The Cruel Prince is one of the most iconic fairy stories. I loved this trilogy so much. Look, I'm going to say the first book is really hard to get through. When I read it, they're talking about ketchups, they're talking about TV, it's a very scary event, it doesn't make any sense. Push past the first book, I'm telling you, it gets so much better. It's such an amazing series. It's very, very political. It's not a romantasy. It's very much a fantasy story. I think it's very much misrepresented, but it's really, really, really good if you want scary fairies as well. The author also did like a duology series, which I tried to read, but for some reason I didn't like it at all. I struggled through the first book. I think I might again try to read it, but I definitely recommend the main trilogy for sure. I also have to talk about the Tinkerbell movies. My favorite Tinkerbell movie is the very first one because I love origin stories. I love, you know, for example, the girl goes to the school for the first time, or like Tinkerbell is born and she has to choose what fairy power she wants for the first time. I always, always, always love origin stories. And recently they've actually written a young adult novel called Wings of Starlight, which I'm hoping to do a book review for soon. I'm planning on reading it and I'm planning on giving my thoughts. And they've also done a sequel to Wings of Starlight, which is called Wings of Reverie, which I also want to read. I think it's going to come out in August, so that's very exciting. My second favorite Barbie movie is Barbie: A Fairy's Secret. I'm going to need to do a ranking Barbie movie video because I have a lot of thoughts on Barbie movies, but this is my second favorite. It has such a bonkers plot. I remember watching the trailer and like me and my sister were just laughing so much because we were like, what is this plot? In the trailer they were like, Ken has been stolen by fairies, and like the whole plot is just we need to get Ken back. But like, I don't know, it was just really, really funny. I loved the wings. I loved Los Angeles was the name of the place they went to, and then they got like wings and stuff. Something that also made me sad was that at the end their memories are erased, and I was like, no, they need to remember. But it's supposed to be a fairy secret, so how can they remember? But such an awesome, awesome movie. I don't know if anyone knows about these books, but I used to love Felicity Wishes growing up. Anytime I mention it, nobody knows what I'm talking about. Like, they know Rainbow Magic and they know the Tiara Club or whatever, but nobody knows Felicity Wishes. I love these books. Recently, I actually rebought the entire set, so I have all 6 books. I think I got it for like £3. Like, it was crazy, but yeah, I was reading through them again. There's such cute stories. I love the art style as well. When I was younger, I was obsessed with this art style. All my old books just have these kind of drawings. I love the dresses. If you go on Wikipedia, Felicity Wishes is described as a world of no meat, no men. and no magic, which I don't know why I said no magic because it's literally about fairies. But yeah, it's really fun. And Felicity, she's a really funny girl because she's just kind of like a disaster and she's really, really clumsy. You know, I think normally with like stories like these, you'd expect the main character to be like perfect, but Felicity is just a mess through and through. And each book is just her getting out of the mess and how her friends are like, oh, Felicity, you're such a mess, but we love you. But yeah, it's such a cute book series. I really recommend reading it. I can't talk about fairies without mentioning Winx Club. I have really, really mixed feelings about Winx Club, and you guys know, if anyone has been following the Winx Club fandom, they know how messy things are. I will say, seasons 1 to 4 and the OG movies, I don't know if they've made more movies, but the movies that I remember they made, on 100% must watch, you must watch them. My favorite season of Winx Club is actually season 4. I just really like the season. I really love that they were on Earth. I love the Earth fairies designs. I really, really liked it. From season 5, I just didn't think it was that good. I think season 6 was the last season I watched. I did look at the reboot. I watched like 10 minutes of episode 1 because I was like, let me give it a try, and I just stopped watching it because it was really bad. It was really, really bad. Just watch the OG. I honestly wish the people would just let the IP go because they just keep on making worse things. There's also Fate the Winx Saga. That was a mess. That's not Winx Club. That's a YA dystopian TV series. That's not Winx Club. I don't know what that is. But yeah, Winx Club is amazing, and it was very like revolutionary for me as a young girl because most kids TV shows back then were very much episodic. So those would be like random episodes where you don't know what's going on, and they have no correlation. Whereas Winx Club told a story. We had Bloom, who was from Earth, then she goes to Althea, and then all this crazy stuff happens. I really loved being able to watch something that had a continuous storyline and getting up to season 3, and then when I watched it, I used to watch on a channel called Pop. So we get up to season 3, then they restart everything back to season 1, and it used to make me excited because I'll be like, oh yay, I can watch it all over again. So I think I've watched Winx Club like 70 times. I'm not even joking. You know what? It's really, really hard to find books about fairies, and I mean like the pretty sparkly Winx Club type fairies, and not the scary fairies or romanticy fairies, but like true blue Tinkerbell type fairies. It's like it doesn't exist. But I did find these ones. There's Lure of the Wild, so this one's about fairies. Raven and the Dove. Okay, I will say about Raven and the Dove is they're not fairies, they're more like winged creatures, but it still counts. Sort of counts. And then there's also Feybound as well, which also have fairies. Another one, Private of the Orange Tree, has fairies. Wait, does it? I need to double check that, but I know for sure Feybound has fairies as well. If you guys have any recommendations for books that have like proper sparkly fairies, please let me know because I really want to read more. Okay, let's talk about mermaids. First, I'm going to recommend a sea drama. This is called The Blue Whisper. The male lead in this drama is a mermaid. I will say though that he doesn't really have many like swimming and mermaid tail scenes, but you do get a scene where he is in his tail. That's what I'll say. Another thing about this drama is that it has an absolutely beautiful soundtrack. So if you do try and pull up an episode and you're a bit distracted by the weird wigs and the CGI, please, at the very least, give the soundtrack a listen because it's absolutely gorgeous. I can't mention mermaids without talking about H2O Just Add Water. This show, it wasn't even like it was one of my favorites, but it was one I always enjoyed. And I think it's a very like slow plot. To this day, I couldn't tell you what the plot was. The only thing was if these girls touch water, they turn into mermaids and they get mermaid tails, and you just follow their antics and you follow their adventures. It's such a common show. It's lovely to put on in the background as well. To this day, I still haven't seen Mako Mermaids. I think I'd like to check it out, but I have a feeling that the OG will always be very special. For another sea drama, I'm going to recommend the story of Pearl Girl. This drama, it doesn't necessarily have any mermaids, but at the very beginning there's lots of pearl diving, swimming, collecting pearls, and even just like the overall aesthetic and the vibe is very mermaid-like, mermaid core and stuff. I will say this drama, the truth is that I dropped at episode 17 because of some events, but I will say, if you really want mermaid vibes, watch episode 1 to 17. You'll enjoy it. I have to talk about Barbie again because Barbie did everything. She was a princess, she was a fairy, and now she's a mermaid in Mermaid's Tale. Barbie in a Mermaid Tale is such an amazing movie. It's a great movie. There's so many Barbie like mermaid movies. There's another one, Barbie Pearl Princess, Barbie Mermaid Adventure. Like there's so many to choose from. So if you really want a Barbie mermaid movie, give those a watch. For a magical girl mermaid show, I recommend Tropical Rouge Pretty. I'm planning on watching this summer. Of course, I have to mention Mermaid Melody. This is an anime about mermaids and they're magical girls and they're singers and they're basically everything. But yeah, this is another really, really pretty show. I wish they made more shows like this. You'd think there would be more anime about mermaids, but there really isn't that many. I'm going to end this video with some more book recommendations. So these are all mermaid ones: A Sea of Song and Sirens, Sing Me to Sleep, and Deep Blue. For Deep Blue, this is a quartet, so there's 4 books. It's very much a fantasy adventure mermaid story. So out of the 3, I really recommend the 3rd one. But yeah, that's it for my trifecta of girlhood, fairies, princesses, and mermaids. If you have any recommendations, please drop them down in the comments below so we can get a conversation going. I loved these growing up. I loved the magic. I loved the wonder. I just loved everything about it. And like to this day, I love watching historical dramas. There's another mermaid show that came out recently on Netflix, Mermaid Magic. That's really good, so I recommend watching that as well. But yeah, if you have any recs, please let me know. Thank you for watching another video on Her Princess Nook.